It
Otra
worked.
vez.
Yes, otra vez.
Part
Welcome
2.
back. Part 2.
Okay.
You still look the same.
Huh? What?
You still look the same.
Good.
Okay, we continue with the chapter Morocco. No?
Yes.
Once I was having a coffee with Lala Aisha. She never ate or drank anything unless she was in her own house or the house of one of her students. She said to me, Baba, do you see that man there? He has problems with his eyes. Heal him. I saw the man but refused to do anything. She urged me, you can do this and it is your duty to heal him. I did nothing. I didn't want to. How many people have I helped in my life? But it always happened accidentally. Maybe I was afraid of failing, or maybe I was capable and then would quickly become proud and arrogant. Either way, I did not want to do that.
What?
Okay. I know there's a question that is not formulating.
This will be explained later, no, in the book, no, I suppose.
Maybe.
When the girl came here
So
and
keep on
India
watching.
and... Huh?
Yes. A young girl in our group.
So just to help you to go on listening to
Exactly.
it. Huh?
Keep watching. The secret will
The
be
next
revealed.
chapter it will come.
A young girl in our group, Barbara, had a bad cold and had completely lost her voice. And now the fever began. Lala Aisha called her over and spoke her magic words very harshly in Barbara's face, almost as if she was spitting. Barbara's voice came back at the same moment and the fever was gone. Is this story in the book of the man with the short neck?
I think so.
Okay, then we will not tell it yet. There's a story about a man with a short neck
Huh?
that will also meet Lala Aisha.
Go on.
There are many burial sites of saints in Mulai Busalham. They all have a dome over the grave. And if it weren't for the fact that their mausoleums were not painted white, you could think to be on a Greek island. One morning I asked my friend Zaid, the waiter, if he could find me someone who would be willing to whitewash the largest and most important tomb in the village, the tomb of Mulai Busalham, after whom this village was named. Tanka, you're snoring very loudly. Tanka, pshh.
Letter. That's nice.
Zaid looked at me, started laughing and said, sure, I'll do it myself. He warned me that people would just take money out of my pocket and that no one would whitewash the tomb. But the next day I told him that I had asked the village barber. We had started a friendship with him and he agreed to find someone to do this work. Zaid encouraged me and confirmed that this young man was a sincere person. The hairdresser asked me to give him 50 euros to buy lime and prepare everything and then find a boy who would do the painting work. On our next visit to Mulai Busalham, the tomb looked just as neglected as before.
Or worse.
Our friend apologized and said that a woman with severe financial difficulties had come to him and asked for help. I'm sorry, Baba, but I gave her the money. I confirmed that he had done the right thing and gave him another 50 euros. I also wrote down my phone number for him in case he needed more money. When we next returned to the village, the mausoleum was freshly painted inside and out. The carpets hanging on the walls had been washed, and everything looked neat and clean. But not only that, all the other tombs with their beautiful domed roofs were brilliant white. The view from the village across to the blue ocean had completely changed. Do you know...
Just one idea. No, I don't think maybe they couldn't do that with the 50 euros. But he also did not ask for more. But the idea came, said, okay, no, maybe he could pay the first arrangement of the first tomb.
And then it
But then
gave
said,
motivation.
oh, wow, but look how it looked like and we could do a little bit more, no?
Yeah. when we went 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was, sadly, the tomb was almost halfway in the sea.
Yeah, because I said to them, look, don't abandon these things. That is what you really have to offer here, no?
Yeah.
And even if it only serves for bringing tourists in and you financially will improve. No, and I don't know if that is in the book, but we made a plan here for the village.
It's coming now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, then you read.
This place, Mulai Bosalham, is about 6 kilometers from the highway. From the highway you pass...
It's a place where you can eat the best fish. Once we were there and suddenly a lot of police and blah blah blah, and we had finished, we went, and it was because the king was coming from Morocco to eat fish there. So they cleaned everything or watched or security or whatever, because he is going to Mulai Bosalham to eat fish.
So it's about 6 kilometers from the highway, and from the highway you pass through young eucalyptus forests until you reach the first houses. There was a lot of garbage on both sides of the street. Mostly plastic bags that the strong wind from the coast swept from one place to another. That wasn't exactly an enticing sight to attract tourists to this place. The village itself, apart from the now white tombs, also appeared quite neglected. Back home, I sat down at the computer with Martin. We designed a plan for the village using Photoshop. First clean up the trash and then plant palm trees, put up benches and street lights and surround the school with bushes. All this with manipulated photos in order to propose these changes to the town hall there. It could be that there wasn't enough money to carry out major improvements, but it could also be possible that no one had ever thought of the idea. Like with the tombs.
Laura, if they don't have the money, they don't have the money, but maybe no one was thinking about it. So we made a folder, and I went with that folder there to go to the town hall to say, look, I was thinking about it, what you could do with your wonderful village. No?
So we soon set off again to be on the beach and visit our friends. When we left the highway, we were very surprised to find the eucalyptus forests clean. I had a briefcase with all the plans to present at the town hall. We drove into the village, and there we found a newly paved, spacious area planted with palm trees. There were even benches to sit on, street lamps everywhere. Even the bushes around the school weren't missing. I never went to the town hall, it was no longer necessary.
Do you remember the guru from India on the video when he said, sometimes I wish things to change and that happens. Not doing anything, just I wish them to change. And sometimes not. But sometimes that can happen.
Yeah. Nicholas and his Moroccan girlfriend were traveling with us. This young woman tried to teach me with her religious knowledge. This continued until it became too much for me, and I took a plastic bag and told her to put the bag on her head because, according to her teachings, it was her duty to cover her hair. The next day, we visited Lala Aisha together. As soon as we arrived, the healer called Nicholas's girlfriend over and repeated word for word what I had told her the night before. This woman didn't believe that life was bigger than 1 and 1 is 2. She began to cry and regretted being so arrogant. Okay, so we have corrected this already. And now I'm not understanding the notes. One moment, please. Lala Aisha's daughter-in-law, a young woman, lived with her.
Say, true.
She had several scars on her forehead, and Dolores asked her about the scars. She told how she was born blind and an aunt took her to a healer when she was 4. This healer, Lala Aisha, grabbed her head very violently, scratched her forehead with her fingernails and then spat at her.
Spatting, pronouncing the word Allah.
From that moment on, she could see.
Yes. And she had a master. So that woman who could do all these things, and then she was submitted to her master.
Somewhere, it seems to be important. Our friend Rosanna was sitting at the table in the healer's house. They had sacrificed a sheep and were preparing a lunch with the meat. Rosanna preferred a vegetarian diet. She had come to us and stayed with us because she had big problems with eating. She suffered from bulimia. So she sat there at the healer's table and thought about how she could avoid this situation. Maybe she could push the meat aside a little, eat the vegetables and dessert, and no one would notice. While she was pondering, Lala Aisha came into the room with a plate. The animal's boiled eyes lay on the plate and seemed to be looking at her. The healer said to Rosanna in a harsh tone, "Until you have finished eating this, you will not get up from the table." Rosanna did what was expected of her and had learned that you had to be careful not only with your words, but also with your thoughts.
No, sometimes they say, how it is possible, what they call to read the mind, no? And some master said, well, we are sitting here in a group of people and the idea comes to my mind to eat fish. Well, I don't like fish, so I perfectly know that that idea is not for me. So, that one. No? So it's just, it's coming. It's coming. It's not that suddenly a book opens and you say, page 352 and blah, blah, and you read and no. An idea is coming and the idea might seem to be stupid, not reasonable, but you are able to bring it out. You just do it. No?
What you said earlier, no, to be able to bring out the most stupid seeming thing.
That's why I teach you to say stupid names.
Yes.
Because then you get used not to judge. No, you say anything. It comes to your mind and you say it, you bring it out, you don't judge. Yes, voilà pop.
My young student Zaka, who had told me about my son's accident a few years ago, was a young, shy person. He had a hard time finding a girlfriend, so I agreed to take on this task for him. Together we looked online for a young woman in Morocco who was looking for a partner. Soon we found a good-looking woman and I got in touch with her. She lived in Tangier, worked in an office and spoke 5 languages. A very bright and intelligent girl. The day came when I asked her for her phone number and now it was up to Zaka to call her. The first thing she said to him was, "Sit down, I have something important to tell you." Zaka sat down on the steps and she informed him that she was not the person seen on her profile. Zaka got nervous and hung up. And he wasn't the one writing.
he was less the person who was in contact with that girl.
Now it was my job again to calm the tempers. I texted her saying I was sorry for hanging up and asked her if she could show her real photo. She agreed and wanted to upload her photo for 10 minutes. The photo appeared and this woman looked much better than the previous photo. Her name was Mina. And so I asked her, "Mina, why didn't you show your true colors from the start?" She asked if I knew where she lived and said that she didn't want to go out on the streets and have people pointing fingers at her because they thought she was offering her body on the internet. I texted her saying she had done exactly the right thing and Zaka called her again. They made an appointment to meet in Tanger and then visit Lala Aisha. And that's what they did. But nothing developed between them that either of them had been waiting for. Therefore, Zaka could now admit that it was not he, but the much older Baba who had been chatting with Mina the whole time. Mina didn't mind, and so we continued our online conversations for several months. I found out Mina had a sister named Yara. She was a doctor, married, and her husband was also a doctor. Yara suffered from problems with her eyes, and it seemed that sooner or later she would go blind. Mina asked me for help. I advised her to send the sister to Lala Aisha to see if she could help her. Mina mentioned that her sister didn't believe in these kinds of things. She was a modern woman and a doctor of that. Neither she nor her husband were willing to see the healer. After a few months, Mina asked me if she could give her sister my phone number. Yara wanted to travel to Spain, Barcelona, to be examined at a well-known clinic that specialized in eye treatment. However, Mina pointed out to me that her sister didn't speak any Spanish, only French. I told her I didn't speak French, but saying hello would be enough. One day the phone rang, and I saw Dolores talking to someone for several minutes. Then she handed me the phone. There was Yara on the phone. She was in Barcelona and asked if she could visit me. Suddenly she stopped and said in disbelief, "What is that? I do not speak Spanish." But we had had a conversation with her in Spanish that lasted several minutes. I told Yara to visit me or Lala Aisha to save her eyesight. She never showed up at my house. And whether she went to Lala Aisha, no sabemos.
But you see?
Weeks later, the story knows it.
Huh? We don't remember.
Neither do I, because I read the book, no?
Yeah, they went, yeah. No, we told the story about the boy in the concert, no, who suddenly could talk Spanish, no? I remember when I first met the big master in Turkey, and in the middle of the night, and I was sitting with him, and there was no way. I mean, he was talking, speaking in Turkish, and the only thing, he offered me a cigarette, I offered him a cigarette, and I was an observer, no? And in the middle of the night, when we had to go home, he came and he said to me in perfect German, "Do you have someone who will bring you to your hotel? Because at this time, or this hour in Istanbul, it might be dangerous." No? So until now, I don't know if he spoke in German or if I understood in German. I don't know, but
in that moment
it was German.
German.
I understood it. No? So then they went.
Weeks later, I heard from Mina that Yara had gone to Lala Aisha with her husband. Lala Aisha had come out of her house as usual to welcome the visitors. When she saw Yara, she said happily, "Welcome, my daughter. You are a healer too." I asked Mina about this, and she told me about her grandmother, who had been a Sufi saint. Often these gifts passed to the grandchildren, not to the sons or daughters. Apparently not wanting to see her gift, Yara appeared to lose her sight. I asked Mina to tell her sister that this gift had nothing to do with ancient customs. She can continue to drive her Mercedes-Benz and use her computer and cell phone. She didn't need to cover her head, nor was any kind of disguise necessary. She could still be a doctor and a healer at the same time. That could even be incredibly effective. No, because people come to a doctor to get healed, and in the end, what the doctor does, if it's a healer, doesn't matter. They don't have to know.
That. No, that's like the man from Belgium who was a homeopathic doctor. No, and he asked our master, he said, "Should I go on with that?" And he said, "Well, yeah, go on. It's a good way to make your money. But what helps much more is what you can do, and you do it when the person turns around and goes out. You say your prayer for that person, and that is what really will help. So the other person even does not have to know it, and your being the homeopathic doctor is your stage how you can bring people in. So people come to you and you are able to help them.
See.
Now, if you would sit alone at home in front of your computer, you do not help no one. No? So it's a good thing, that job, and it does not exclude one thing from the other. No, you can do both.
Dani, a visitor from Istanbul, appeared in our village. The young man was Argentinian and studied in Turkey. He was a hobby musician and could play the Sufi flute, the ney. As he entered my living room, I noticed his right arm, which was constantly moving, as if shaken by spasms. You do it.
And it was painful. It was so strong that it was painful. It would go like that, his arm, no?
As if shaken by spasms. We greeted each other, introduced ourselves, and then the visitor asked me what was wrong with his arm. I don't know. It's your arm and you should know what's happening to it, was my answer. The young man informed me that his arm had never moved in this way before. The movements were strong and painful. My arm started doing this the moment I saw you, Dani explained.
As always, I'm culpable for everything.
As soon as he moved away from me, the arm calmed down again. After a few days, Dani told me that he wanted to go to Morocco, so I gave him the address of Lala Aisha to pay her a visit. When Dani returned, he said that his arm behaved the same way the moment he came close to Sidi Rashid, Lala Aisha's master. Dani wanted to fly back to Istanbul to pack his things and then return to Argentina. I asked him not to leave Turkey without visiting Rumi in Konya. Someone sent you here to me. People don't come here by chance. And in your case, it was Rumi. So this also you just said because it came. Do you?
No.
This time you opened the book.
I have the red telephone like Putin and Trump, but I have with Rumi. I called and said, Rumi, what, this young guy, you sent him? Rumi said, yes, of course, it was me. No, it comes to your mind and you say it. That's it. So you have to be able to become a complete idiot. If not, you cannot serve no one. If you count with your self-importance and that you need to be right, no, and you can never prove that you are right. If you prove it, they will prove it. They will find out that you were right. No, but if you have this feeling to prove that you are right, no, it's like the other day when they said the aunt of Mara, no, she's very depressed and sick and ill and blah blah blah. But Mara has a book from her about prayers, and I said, "Look, recite a little prayer. Where's the book? Give me the book." And I just opened it, and I said, "That piece." No, so the normal process would have been that I ask, so what is happening to your aunt and how is she behaving and blah blah blah, and in what is she believing or whatever, and then I would go through the book. It could be that now, but maybe not, and maybe that, and then intellectually I would choose a part of the book
that's seemingly appropriate.
No, that.
Yeah, I remember I saw it.
And you have to learn to be able to do that, because you might fail. It's not that you fail. They make you fail, and they don't make you fail. They have another purpose. They have another. With a disciple, they can say, okay, we will, what I told you today, we will try to test her. We will give her an idea that the master is wrong, and she will go and try to find out, and then you go on internet and you find, so the master is wrong, like with the healer now. Yeah, okay, if you want to destroy your own faith in that, you're welcome. We put you to a test from time to time, and you have to maintain that. I said, no way, I will not give up.
I follow my feeling, not my mind.
No, I follow my feeling, not my mind.
And with feeling, the heart, no?
Contact lens, where are we?
I encouraged him, Dani, to visit the grave, Rumi's grave, and play a melody on a bamboo flute that I gave him. The flute had come from India. I said, play your song there and give Rumi greetings from the Baba in Granada. He knows me.
Look, that is stupid to say something like that.
See?
That is stupid. How can Rumi know me? But then explain to me how my friend, the guru in India, can repeat every word I'm talking here.
No
You can explain, no one can
Yeah.
explain. So, or you go into that and you start to perceive things like that and to believe it, and then believe everything. That's it. Everything is possible.
Dani wanted to know if these abrupt movements with his arm would subside. As soon as you move away from me, it goes away. But for the rest of your life, you will feel it in your arm when something spiritual is happening near you. It is a sign for you.
No, not so extreme,
But a
just
feeling.
it's always a feeling in between comfortable and uncomfortable. It's like when your hair is going out. No, it's on one hand it's oh wow, and on the other it's a little bit creepy.
The
No,
tingling.
so that I said that feeling will be there for you.
As a sign that something spiritual is happening near you, which could also mean that a person, a connected person, is near you. The next day, the Argentinian called from Madrid airport and told me the following. I'm walking through the waiting room and suddenly my arm starts to feel strange again. And when I look around, there's a woman sitting there reading a book about Rumi. I approach her and it turns out that she is on her way to Turkey with a group of people to visit the tomb of Rumi. When I asked if I could travel with them because I also wanted to go to Konya, she said no, because her group was a closed society and didn't want outsiders with them. Many people give themselves the name Sufi, but very few feel.
But that's apparently not written there. The woman said, I belong to a Sufi group. No, that's why we are going to Konya. And then I say, yeah, there are many people who call themselves Sufi, but I mean, someone would come to, we sit there on the airport, at the airport, and would say, oh wow, you are reading that book and I have to go to the tomb, I can go with you. Of course you can.
And you would have a conversation for hours.
No, I will say, oh, you come with us.
See.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many people give themselves the name Sufi, but very few feel what it means to be a Sufi. I told Dani not to be alarmed and that someone much more important to him would be waiting for him in the mausoleum of Mevlana Rumi.
Why do I say that?
Because it came to your mind.
I know that. I see that. I suddenly
see the future?
Oh, I see the date, the day, and then the mausoleum, and then the person sitting there. Oh,
And just
I just
pops
say
up.
it.
You just say it because it simply comes to your mind.
No.
You say it out loud.
No.
So the next call came from Konya, directly from the mausoleum.
From the tomb.
Hello, here's Rumi.
Rumi.
Dani had stood in front of the grave and played his melody. He was thrown out. That was probably the wrong flute, a Hindu flute. And then he came back into the hall where a group of men were sitting.
You see that? No, he was playing his flute. They kicked him out. Maybe that prepared him for the next step. To come in and give a kiss to that guy. No, because he was already out of his mind. They kicked him out, and they said, okay, I could hide the flute in my bag. And then he went in again.
Yes, he came back into the hall where a group of men were sitting. One of them, a blind man, was reciting the Quran in his wonderful voice. And there was that strange feeling in his arm again. Dani said he couldn't resist, had to approach the man and gave him a kiss. Are you gay now? I asked him. No, I just couldn't hold back, he replied. The blind man asked him who he was and where he came from. Dani said his name and added that he had just come from the Baba in Granada. The blind man began to laugh and said, the Baba is a good friend of mine. It was Kamil Baba, our friend from Istanbul, who now lives in Brazil. Camille took Dani around Konya and introduced him to the local Babas. So someone much more important to you is waiting for you. You will meet. See. Who? This one is going to be a bit tricky. There's like a lot of...
Well, but you have your contact lens. Don't worry. You can take them out and look closely.
And look very closely. One of my daughters, Aina, wanted to study in Granada. But for some reason, there was no place for her to study that year. With her very strong character, she came to see me and told me that she had no employment for the coming year. Don't worry. I'll find something for you today, was my answer. We had our own radio station in our house, providing the village and surrounding area with music for years, and I chose all the songs.
See.
During our break at work, I asked Martin to search the internet to see if there was still a singer named Arthur Brown who had a huge hit many years ago. The song, I'm the God of Hellfire and I bring you fire.
Very spiritual.
Very spiritual.
Huh? So why do I remember in that moment that guy and that song? I mean, I chose 8,000 songs for the radio. They're still here.
We still listen to them, yes.
No, in that moment that song comes up. That the artist said, go look if he's still alive and he's making music.
Yes, so was looking, Martin looked up on the internet, and yet, yes, he still existed, Arthur Brown, and was still active. So we were able to download his music onto our iPod for the radio station. Arthur, of course, had his own website, which we looked at also. And there was a section that said, The Spiritual Life of Arthur. Click, and there we were. Arthur was now a Sufi master who had received part of his training in Scotland. There was a school where one could study the writings of Mevlana Ruby, Ibn al-Arabi and others. We opened their website and found that they were accepting volunteers.
If someone is interested in that, it's called Bishara School. It's a good place. Bishara School in Scotland.
Yes. So they were accepting volunteers. However, one had to pay 300 euros a month to cover some of the costs. So there is the volunteering for your daughter. Or what?
You go on reading.
I told Martin to call. He explained to the secretary that a Spanish Sufi master wanted to send his daughter to them, but didn't have enough money to pay the 300 euros a month.
That is true. In that time we could just live.
At that point, we were making just enough to cover our costs. The secretary, I'm laughing because, well, if you've been watching, you know this, but Fendi says something and then I read the same thing written in the book. The secretary asked us to call back the next day because she couldn't make the decision on her own. The following day, we were informed that my daughter was accepted to come there. It was less to study and more to learn English. When Aina arrived at Bishara School, she found that this place had been founded by a man named Bulent Rauf, the master who was mentioned under the name Hamid in the book by Reshad Field. The book that sent me on this long journey, the long journey of your life.
Claro, and many people said, well, that book is just a novel, it's not real, and no one knew who in reality was that master. And one day one of my former disciples, he sent me a picture, said, look, I found Bülent Rauf, who is that man with the photo, who is the master?
And as we were talking, the lamp,
Yeah.
magic.
So now, I mean, that connection, she does not get a
Her
place
study
to
place.
study. She is very, my daughter is like you, very stubborn. I said, don't calm down, no worry, no worry. Well, how can I say to her, today I will find something? That's idiotic. We were working on construction. How can I find something? We went for the break. I said, Arthur Brown, look, boom, there it is. The next day they say, okay, we accept her. And then it turns out that the founder or the master of the guy who wrote the book that sent me on that trip is buried on that ground. So what?
Yes.
Coincidence, yes.
So the book that sent you on this long journey.
That's
This is the book that you read and went to Turkey with.
That's it.
And tried to look for all the different places and finding the master and the bookshop.
When I was so
and this
stupid
and
that I didn't realize that in the beginning of the book, the guy said, all the names and places, I changed the names.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting, I was going, that town we go, and then I was sitting there with my girlfriend and said, look, maybe it's that guy. Oh no, maybe it's that guy.
Yeah.
The only thing that was true was talking about Rumi, the tomb. That was really there, and so we went and there all started. So I really, through that book, that gave me the big kick.
Yeah.
So that through that guy who was buried there in Scotland. So and you go for a song, I'm the god of hellfire and I bring you fire. See.
So the book that sent me on this long journey, and this man, the author, was buried here. My daughter stayed for a whole year and was even
No,
invited.
not the author is buried there. The author is the founder of that school, and his master, the Bühlendrauf, is buried there.
Ah, yes, of course. Yes, yes. So my daughter stayed there for a whole year and was even invited to go to Turkey with other students to visit Rumi's grave. A young woman from Israel who was studying there paid half of her travel costs, and the school covered the other half. I received a call from Aina, who told me that her friend from Israel was suffering from a nervous breakdown. She asked me for help.
It's now, in our days, it's a burnout.
Okay. I instructed her to place the amulet I had given her many years ago and that she always wore on her friend's chest. Later, she told me that her friend had calmed down immediately.
Yeah, you remember what happened to the two people, the tone engineer?
See?
Well, but we sent that thing and suddenly
Yes.
everything was okay, no?
Yes. Cancer patient. Aina had told two friends about her father and they both decided to visit me. A couple about 30 years old. Simon and Lucy arrived at our house in the evening. I was sitting in the living room with a group of my people. The couple entered and after greeting each other, they sat down on a sofa. At that time, there was a grey, long-haired Persian cat living with us. This cat used to jump on the table and sniff the glasses or the cake, but never took a bite or drank from the glass. I was served tea and some biscuits. But this day, the cat jumped on the table and bit into one of the cookies. She had never done this before. Without knowing why, I took the cookie and offered it to Simon. The young man thanked me but refused. I looked at his girlfriend and asked her if she wanted to eat it. Everyone had seen the cat bite into the cookie. The woman looked at me for a while. Finally, she accepted and the cookie disappeared into her mouth. The cat then ran over to the woman, lay down on her lap, and spent 4 hours there until we were all tired and went to bed. Another thing, no? It's like this idea of just offering the cookie.
It's not reasonable.
Not quite.
I could eat it because it's my cat. Or the normal thing would say, take it back to the kitchen and bring another one. It's not reasonable. It's just, you do. You don't know why you do. In my case, it's like that.
The next day, Lucy informed me that she had an extremely severe allergy to cats. She had noticed the cats in our house as soon as she had arrived and decided to greet us and then leave again after about 15 minutes. we had provided the couple with a small house in the village where they could stay. When I saw what you did with the cookie, I thought you were crazy. You should have eaten it or sent it back to the kitchen. But it was absolutely impossible for me to refuse the cookie.
You see, that for that woman was poison.
Mm-hmm.
And she could not say no. So that is, if you don't want to call it unconditional love, it's unconditional attraction. She could not.
It was absolutely impossible for me to refuse the cookie. I just couldn't. So I ate it. And then, the long-haired cat on my lap, I hardly dared to breathe and waited for the asthma attack to come. But it didn't appear. My allergy has disappeared. I'm healed.
Don't ask how, say wow, observe life. Don't try to figure out how it's working, because then the miracle is gone, the mystery is gone. No.
Simon appeared, the boyfriend or husband, and asked if I could help him too. His neck was shorter than a normal person's. Here we are. He was born that way and was unable to work because he was unable to sleep through the night. He always had the feeling that he couldn't breathe and would wake up. Simon received money from the state and worked for a few hours as a gardener. Well, I offered you the cookie first, but you didn't want it. Never put your mind above the powers of a healer.
Yeah, but if you cannot help it, then you will put your mind above that.
Simon mentioned the plan to go to Morocco, so I gave him the address of Lala Aisha and said to visit her. There is no guarantee, but maybe she can help you. Since Lala Aisha and her patients were usually poor people, we had paid for several surgeries for her patients when her arts didn't help. When her healing wasn't helping. A wonderful proof that the healing power does not come directly from the healers and they cannot do whatever they want. Someone else decides.
There was a young girl and she had an hernia. And apparently that was painful and blah blah blah. And Lala Aisha said, look, I tried several times to help her, to heal her, and no way. And I said, so how, what could help her? And she said, yes, an operation at the hospital, but we don't have the money, and the
Parents don't
have the money. And said, okay, we pay that. No, and that for me it was wonderful, because that was showing it's not the healer. It's not the healer. You've seen what happened today. It's not the healer. It's not I can do. No, you cannot. You are an instrument in the hands of the source. And if the source agrees that this will happen, and if not, it will not happen. You cannot do. It's not in your hands.
Simon had his concerns because he didn't speak Arabic and so couldn't explain his problem to the healer.
No, his mind going in, no, but that makes no sense because I cannot explain what is my problem.
So you say, she will meet and greet you at the entrance to the property. At that moment, you simply point your hand to your neck and say, Lala Aisha. She'll know immediately what's wrong with you.
And she knows before.
After a week, they came back. Simon told us the following story. As you said, she came to greet us and I pointed to my neck. But she just made a noise like "Pah!" and went back into the house. We were left alone in the yard and didn't really know what to do. At that moment, a door opened and someone motioned for us to come into the house. There we were invited to dinner and then tea. Since we couldn't talk and nothing else happened, we used sign language to make it clear that we wanted to leave again. But as we stood in the yard, the healer suddenly came running towards me, grabbed me by the neck and spat in my face with the Scratching, yes. Simon began to smile. Baba, my neck has not grown any longer. But since that moment I can sleep all night long. The nightmare is over.
Yeah. No, finished, no? Because it's not everything or what? Oh no, you
It's
can
only
finish that. Okay,
a
go
little
on.
bit. On another visit to Morocco, Sidi Rashid, the master of the healer, Lalaisha, showed us his farmhouse. Several large and smaller buildings and a huge courtyard with surrounding fields. One of the buildings was the former home of his grandfather, who was buried here.
The founder of the order.
This man had founded the Sufi order, which Sidi Rashid now headed. So he was the master of the whole
boss,
order.
Mm-hmm.
The house was a bit neglected, but built in a beautiful Andalusian style. We took several photos of the house and our group together with the Sidi. Question.
What?
Thought came. Perhaps Lala Aisha has no interest in being a leader, or it's not her thing to be the leader of an order. Maybe for her, the work that she's doing with the healing and everything else.
You saw about the Kurdish people. He said that man came here. He was at the point to get an amputation or whatever. He got healed and now he is standing in the middle of the circle healing other people.
Yeah.
So one thing is the healer and another thing can be the spiritual master.
The master of
And
the
then
order.
it can be, it can overlap. No? But normally it's different. So maybe Lala Aisha is more the physical healer and Sidi what?
Rashid.
Rashid is more the spiritual healer. No?
Back in Granada, we looked at the photos of the house. There was one where Sidi stood in the courtyard of the old Andalusian house, his head resting in one hand. When I saw this picture, I said to my people, the Sidi is considering whether to gift me the house or not. Again, just came, no?
Claro. What can I
You
see
didn't
on the
think
photo?
about that
You will tell
before.
like that.
Okay, Flogster. Okay. You want to
What
show
again?
off your beautiful long legs? Okay. 2 weeks later, Sidi Rashid called here at home and told us that he had decided to gift the house to me. And that I should come to sign the contract in front of a notary. The Sidi wanted me close to him, or at least we should have a place to vacation in Morocco. Floki is also saying it's enough now. Okay, just a few more sentences. Almost done with the chapter. To have a place to vacation in Morocco as often as we wanted to. I thought about this for a long time, but then I asked Nicola's wife, a Moroccan, to call Sidi and say the following. Thank you very much for this wonderful offer, but unfortunately I have to decline. Sidi, if I were to settle there, one of the first things I would do would be to put down some big speakers in the yard and then put on AC/DC. And that would mean that your people would nail both of us to the front gate of the property. So I think it's better if I do my work here and you do it in Morocco. Yes.
That's not possible. There's a very big gap in between the both worlds.
Yes. Ooh, the next chapter is called India.
Oh,
Ooh,
then
we're going to
soon
India.
it's finished.
Yeah, we have a little bit left.
Well, if I have 2 weeks, I can write a new one.
Exactly.
No problem.
Yeah. Enough stories since 2017.
Okay.
Okay, sí. Hasta la próxima.
Goodbye.